welcome back to the whole podcast, KC. Today we have our guest speaker is Jill Robison, and she is our core services manager. So we're just going to dive into that and get a little bit more knowledge about what that entails. So first off, how long have you been here at the whole person?
I've worked with a whole person for 4 years
Okay,
in January.
and have you always been the core services manager?
No. For the first 3 years, I did transitions with the Show Me Home program.
Okay,
So transitioning residents from nursing homes into independent living.
okay, wonderful. And then, so then the last year you've been the core services
Yes.
manager. So then core services, do you supervise all of because I know there's five core services, so you overlook all of those?
No,
Oh,
no.
okay.
So core services includes transitions with the Show Me Home program. Includes blind and low vision services and
As I know.
deaf and hard of hearing services.
Okay. Um, and so like when you're starting a transition, what does that process look like? And if someone's interested in
Mhm.
getting transitioned from a nursing home into independent living, what is that process?
Okay. Well, there's two different processes that can happen. All nursing homes are required to do a quarterly FIM score on the residents, and that rates how independent the resident is with certain tasks. If they reach a certain number, I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. If they reach a certain number, then they should automatically refer that person to Show Me Home. So that's one way. The resident decides they want to leave the nursing home, they want to receive help from us, they need to go to their social worker at the nursing home and request a social worker refer them to the Show Me Home program.
Okay. And does that typically go well? I mean, are they accepting to that?
Usually, yes. I mean, sometimes when social workers are new and they don't really understand the program, um, we might need to help them along, tell them about the program, and also tell them how to make the referral. The referral actually goes to the state. It's an online referral to the state. It does not come to us.
Oh, okay. So the state has to approve it and then it comes to us.
The state gets the referral. The state gets the referral, and then it comes to the whole person. One of the transition specialists will go out and meet with the resident, do a short interview. That goes to the state. Then our coordinator at the state goes out, meets with the person again, does an assessment, and then our state coordinator is the one that either approves them or denies them for services.
And is that only based on if they can independently take care of themselves, or is there a lot of different areas that it's based on?
It's mostly based on safety.
Okay.
Safety is our number one concern. So if we believe the person can live safely on their independently.
Okay. Um, do you ever see that maybe a client was independently taking care of themselves and they didn't really necessarily need to be in a nursing home, and maybe that was just easier for their family?
Yeah. So what usually happens is someone will be at the hospital for whatever reason. When they leave the hospital will discharge them to a nursing home, either for rehab or for long term care. If the hospital thinks, oh, this person shouldn't be on their own. And then they get stuck in the nursing home. Maybe they don't know how to advocate for themselves. They don't have family that will advocate for them. So then they kind of get stuck there. And then during that time, they'll lose their home. They'll lose most of their belongings.
Oh, how sad.
Yeah. And then most of the clients we work with receive Social Security benefits. So when you're in a nursing home, most of your money is going to the nursing home. So they
Right.
don't have the money to pay a deposit, first month's rent on the apartment. So they're financially stuck.
Okay. So, I believe we assist with that as well, right? Kind of getting started.
That's correct. We have a budget. We pay the first month's rent and deposit, and we buy the items that they need to live independently. So basic furniture, a bed, seating, maybe a kitchen table, kitchen items, pillows, bedding, all those sorts of
And
things.
then you also go in their new place and help them set it up and get established. Is that
Yes.
correct?
On the day-to-day transition, we go to the nursing home, pick them up and their belongings, take them to their new home, and we set the apartment up for them.
And what are they typically like that day that you come and pick them up from the nursing home? Are they like all giddy like Christmas morning because they're getting out?
They're
Or are they just kind of unsure?
they're usually giddy, happy, or they're a little bit nervous.
Sure.
So
Yeah, because they're not going to have all those people there to assist.
right,
Yeah.
right. The majority of our consumers will qualify for assistance through the state, through Medicaid.
Hmm.
So they may have someone that comes in maybe 5 days a week for 1 or 2 hours to assist with shopping, cleaning, bathing, maybe cooking.
Okay. And that would be like a personal care assistant. Is
Yes, a
that
personal
correct?
care
Okay.
assistant.
Well, we had Brandy on in an early episode,
Yes,
so I learned all about that
yeah,
as well. Um, yeah, I actually applied for to get a personal care assistant for myself, and I was denied because they told me I was too independent.
yeah,
Which makes sense, but like also, I still can't drive to run errands, and that was the main
right,
purpose. But
right,
I'm figuring it out.
yeah.
So, what are the living conditions like at these nursing homes that our consumers are typically in?
Well, living conditions physically, people are two to a room in a small room.
Hmm.
So there's not very much privacy at all. There's always somebody around, pretty much.
Do they have the curtains
They
to
have
like
the curtain,
separate?
yeah, the
I mean,
curtain
that's
pulls
not a lot of
across. Yeah, I
privacy.
mean, visual, I mean, it blocks vision, but it doesn't block noise, conversation, that
Yeah,
sort of thing.
sure.
Then there's always staffing issues, it seems like, at nursing homes.
Yeah.
So if there's staffing issues, that's going to increase the time someone waits after they turn on their call light because they need assistance. And then a lot of it comes down to the culture of the building. Some buildings or facilities have a culture of putting the resident first, always helping the resident. Some buildings have a culture of maybe trying to make things easier for the staff. So more of a negative. Um,
So then the residents are kind of on hold
yes,
until
residents. Right.
somebody can come and help.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have a success story that you could share with us about the transitions?
Well, I always remember my first consumer. He was a very kind man. He had a very sad childhood. He didn't have much of an education, but he didn't belong in a nursing home. And
Was that one of those circumstances where the family moved him in, or
he didn't really have any family. So
oh,
I think he came from the hospital to the nursing home and just ended up there for several years. But seeing him, how happy he was when we moved him, and seeing him set up his apartment, um, and just how he made it his own, it was very inspiring and heartwarming.
sure, sure. So when you moved him into his place, and was it his choice to get out of there and start that process, or how did that all begin?
It was his choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Okay.
talked to the social worker, told him he wanted to leave the nursing home, and she referred him to show me home.
Okay. And what is how are consumers usually once they get into their new place? Are they happy to be there, or are they little like
Y-
you said, I guess they're still nervous?
It can be a big adjustment. When someone's in a nursing home, they have friends that are there next door to them in the dining room. You know, they have activities that are planned for them.
Right.
And then when they move into apartment, they might not know how to make friends. And sometimes people are get really lonely.
Sure.
And so we've actually had people, none of our consumers have, but I know in the state there have been consumers that wanted to go back to the nursing home because they were lonely.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
we're trying to rectify that. There's a new program through the state where the state will reimburse for transportation to social events.
Okay.
So
Wonderful.
the state is trying to fight that. And during the pandemic, apartment buildings, were not having activities, but
Right.
that's starting to change now. They're starting to have
Good.
activities again.
Good. That's good to hear. And are the consumers then taking that up, the transportation option to get out and do things?
It's been slow, but hopefully it'll build and people start using it more.
Right. Well, and
Yeah,
it's probably hard too because they don't know of what is out there that they can join in on.
true.
Is there a resource for them to reach out to find activities?
The thing is, a lot of our people don't. use the internet.
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
but our transition specialist can always help with that.
Okay. If you would, if there was a policy, um, well, actually, let me ask this first. Do I know that we do Kansas and Missouri? Is that correct or no?
That's correct.
Okay. So do we just not have as many in Kansas?
Kansas does not have um, the Show Me Home program. Actually, would be called Money Follows the Person in Kansas if they had it.
Okay.
Um, in Kansas, Aetna and Sunflower, we are contracted with them to provide transition services for them.
Okay.
So it's just the two insurances. Now, um, Kansas is planning on bringing Money Follows the Person back to the state. So then it would be a statewide program,
So they currently
just like
don't have
they don't
that.
have that at all.
So then who helps with that funding for if there is a Kansas
Well,
consumer?
it's Aetna and
Oh, the
Sunflower.
insurance.
The insurance
Okay.
does, yes.
Okay. Okay. So if there was a policy that needed to be changed within the whole process, do you have any suggestions?
So we follow our consumers for a year after they transition home. Um, One thing I would like us to be able to change is if somebody has a setback at the end of the year, it could be hospitalization, it could be a family situation, any kind of setback. I wish we could extend the year so we could keep seeing them for a few more months until they're back.
Oh, so can you not?
No, the year ends when it ends.
So who do they have to reach out to?
They
Is
can
it
still reach out to us, of course. I mean, we're still the source of resources for them. They can always call us.
okay?
So,
Okay. Did you ever see yourself doing this type of work?
when I went to school for occupational therapy, this is the kind of work I thought I would be doing. Um, and I didn't for the first part of my career. I did rehab and nursing homes, I did some home health. And honestly, it was not that satisfying. Um, Coming here was, made a big difference because now I feel like I am making a difference in people's lives where I didn't feel that way before.
Which is a huge difference when you are challenged and then
Mhm.
also feel good about what you're doing. It makes a
Yes.
huge difference in your daily life coming into work.
Yes, it does.
Let's see. Was there anything? Oh, I kind of wanted to go. Maybe our listeners aren't aware of what the Show Me program is in
Okay.
Missouri, so maybe we should just talk about that.
Okay. So the Show Me Home program, it's a state program. We implement it here at the Whole Person. We help people move from nursing homes to independent living. Um, when someone comes on the program, we give them resources to find an apartment, and then we don't do things for the consumer. We would do things with them. So we'll assist them with filling out applications. We'll assist them maybe with making phone calls, with getting their state ID, their social security card. Those are two things you need to have to apply for an apartment. So we'll assist them with that. Um, once they find housing, we coordinate the move between the nursing home themselves and the apartment complex. On the day of the move, we physically move them their belongings, we set up the apartment, um, we assist them with maybe choosing an agency to provide PCA services. And then we visit them twice a month for the first 3 months, and then once a month for the rest of the year,
Okay.
just to make sure that they're doing okay.
Okay. All right. We are going to take a quick break for an ad. We will be right back.
Are you an adaptive athlete? Are you ready for your first ever adaptive sports competition in Kansas City? Well, here it is. The Kansas City Ultimate Games is having its inaugural season, hosted by the Whole Person, a proud Move United member. Set your calendars for June 13th through the 16th for bocce, adaptive cycling, and para powerlifting. Unleash your spirit and conquer the challenge. Come get it.
All right, we're back. So we just have a little bit more to go. Um, so what advice would you give to a consumer with a disability who is struggling to live independently?
Well, I would tell them to not be afraid to reach out. If they don't have family or friends that can help them, they can call the Whole Person. They can call the United Way. Both organizations can tell them about the resources available to help them. We have people at the whole person who can help them advocate for the things they need. So really, I would say don't give up and reach out for help when you need it.
Absolutely. I know that I've received, sometimes somebody will get transferred to me, and it's just a consumer that doesn't really know where to go, what to
Hmm.
do. And, I feel like the whole person it always has a resource,
Yeah.
depending on your struggle or if
Hmm.
it's anything, of course, living independently, because that's what we like to focus on. Um, what do you guys, what's the contact like with the consumer once you get them moved in?
Well, some of our consumers, we only talk to them once a month when we go out to visit them. Other consumers call us on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Some of consumers just use this as their diary. They'll call and just tell us everything that's going on.
Yeah,
Uh,
they're probably, like you said, experiencing a little loneliness, not
yes,
having people to talk
yes,
to about
yes,
their lives.
yes.
So I could understand that.
Yeah.
It's like we need a support group for these folks.
Well, we do invite our consumers to come to the Getting Social meeting we have the first Friday of the month.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, one of my former consumers comes to Getting Social on a regular basis. So I like to go down and talk to him when he's
Oh,
here,
wonderful. That's
catch up.
exciting to hear. So most of the time when you do those monthly check-ins,
Mhm.
do you see that they are doing well with the living independently and on their own, or are they struggling, or does it just kind of depend on the person?
Oh, it's very person to person.
Yeah,
We have a set list of questions we go over when we visit people regarding their health, their safety, social activities. So it really it varies from person to person. Some people struggle. Some people they move out and they're just fine.
right.
You kind of feel like you're wasting their time when you come over to visit them
Right.
because they're
Well,
so independent.
I mean, I'm sure your help was very helpful because I can't imagine doing that all on your own if you don't have
Hmm.
family members.
Right, right.
But once they get settled in, maybe they're good.
Yeah.
Okay. Was there anything that I didn't ask that you find is important?
Hmm.
Some the nursing home. Do they are they always pretty accepting to when people want to move out,
For the most
or is it a
part,
struggle?
there is one building that it is a struggle with. They're they don't respond to us when we try to contact them because we can't do what we do without the cooperation of the nursing home.
Right.
And there's a couple buildings where the social worker just kind of ignores us. And I have actually
That's
managed to
unfortunate.
do a couple transitions in that situation, just going around the social worker, but it's not ideal.
Right. Sure. Okay, great. Well, thanks so much for coming in and letting us interview you today. It was very insightful for our listeners. Once again, for our monthly events, we have rock climbing, which is the second Saturday of the month. And then we have our bowling, which is the third Wednesday of the month at KC Bowl. As always, you can check out our events on our calendar at thewholeperson.org. And also, don't forget about our KC Ultimate Games. Registration is open as well as signing up to be a volunteer. And you can check that out at kcultimategames.org. Thanks, and see you next time.